Hey everybody, welcome to Digging Deeper Jazz. I'm Jeff Antoniuk. Welcome to the video this week. We're going to talk about half note soloing. So follow me on this. This is a really powerful way to get your soloing, your melodic playing, your harmonic playing really connected. And if you've taken any lessons with any really high-end teachers, they probably talk to you about this. Before we get going, there's like 10,000 subscribers on this channel. Here's what I want. I want 20,000 subscribers next week. Here's how we're going to do it. Each of you send like an email or two to a couple friends. If you're enjoying these videos, if you've seen 2 or 3 or 100, mention it to a friend. Mention it to 2 friends. One of those friends never does whatever you say anyway, so they're not going to do it. But the other one, she's pretty good. And so she'll probably do it. She'll sign up. She'll check out a video and maybe kind of get moving with their music like what you're doing here. So I appreciate you watching these videos and thank you for sharing this information with others. Okay, so here's the routine. This practice idea you should do on every song you ever play forever. We've been doing this at Jazzwire, and there are people at all ability levels. Novice players who are, somewhat new to improvising, intermediates who have been playing for years, semi-pros who are out playing gigs. They are getting so much done with this. Noticeable improvement in a week. Take some fine tuning. But it's literally that. We're going to play half note solos. So I'm going to use the song, what is this thing called Love? Could be any tune. That's the one I'm thinking about for today. And the idea is to literally play half notes. Now, I will say for even some of the intermediate players, just playing half notes on beat 1 and 3 was hard to do. They were wanting to change things and syncopate it. So just grounding our time on 1 and 3, some of you are going to have a problem with that. And here's the thing, you're not even going to know you're having a problem with it. You're just going to do what's instinctive, which isn't right? That's why we take lessons. That's why we have coaches. That's why we have mentors. That's the work we do at Jazzwire. So whether it's with me, whether it's with Jazzwire, whether it's with another teacher, you got to get this stuff checked out. So half note solos. So let me show you the PDF I'd love to send you. And take a look. And what I did is I sort of composed a solo over the first 8 measures of this tune. Check it out. So some of you may realize that what I've written here in item number 1 is voice leading. We see a lot of 7ths and 3rds, a lot of half-step motion going through those chords. Now that's the first big thing that you're going to get from this. If you're aware of voice leading, you've heard the term, you kind of know what it is, you sort of know how chords resolve. This is a game changer for you. Your playing, when you learn how to do this, is going to go through the roof. So what this is, so yes, we're playing half notes, but we want to play half notes that are functional, that are foundational, that say something about the chord. It's easy to find some wrong notes. So let me just play through number 1 for you, and you'll hear how the melody that I'm playing, that I'm improvising, is really fitting inside the chords, and it sounds good. To me, this is like a string line behind a pop tune, or that B3 organ line behind Aretha Franklin singing a ballad. It's just this beautiful melody way in the back, but it's so melodic. Yet it has the harmony in it. That's what we're after today. Check it out. So we are talking about your ability to improvise something like that. Now, for some of us, it's going to take a lot of calculating to find out what are those notes? How do notes voice lead? What is voice leading? Oh my God, I've got some work to do. Yeah, okay, so we can do that work together. To start off by literally writing this stuff out. This is good arranging. That's a fantastic line for a second trombone player in a big band. That would be amazing. So start by writing this stuff out. But the goal is, can you look at a set of chord changes and improvise a half note solo? So At this point, it's not even very soloistic. We're just sort of finding this beautiful line. That right there, as I said, is a game changer for you. So the cool part is when we go on to item number 2. Now, before we do that, I want to remind you, we're in the middle of a series of 4 online workshops. Of course, the COVID virus is going on. So we have folks from all over the world, literally all over the world, Australia, Europe, North America, all over the place, tuning in. Only 15 people per workshop. And 2 workshops left on October 1st, which is next Thursday. We do it at 1 o'clock p.m. New York City time. So for the Europeans, they see it a little later in the day. For the folks on the West Coast of the United States, a little earlier. And you can also watch it by recording. Folks in Australia are just getting the recording of the workshop. But I want you to attend. There's, I think, 3 spots left for each of these. October 1st, we're working on building your vocabulary on the 1 chord, which is where most people have no vocabulary. And the next one is advanced rhythm changes. We're going to look at some hip ways to get sort of inside the changes with rhythm changes. So I'd love for you to sign up. They're $35 each, and we get to interact. It's not me on a video. I mean, we're on a call together. I'm hearing you play. You're hearing me play. We're answering questions. We're meeting each other. It's a blast. Okay, so let's look at item number 2 here. Now, here is where things start to get a little bit more interesting. Good melodies have tension and release. Okay, so good melodies may not always move by half step. I can think of some very lovely melodies that have octaves in them or major sevenths or whatever else. So now, can we find some tensions? Tension meaning a note that rubs a little bit. Some people might call it a wrong note. We're not going to use that terminology, but a note that has some rub. Man, how do you use that and then resolve it properly? So the half note solo thing, this is a big deal because if you can't control the line of your melody with half notes, when you're playing eighth notes and, jazz, regular jazz sort of rhythmic vocabulary, forget about it. Everything's untethered and wild and flying around. There's no line through what you're doing. This is where you get it. It's fantastic. So check it out. Let me play item number 2. And what you're going to hear now, you're going to hear, some tensions and releases. Sometimes the tension is the first note. Sometimes it's the second note. But I put some little brackets underneath so you can see these half steps. Those half steps are really important. The bass players out there know this. This is how you construct a bass line going into the next chord. So we're learning something from the bass players here. Check it out. It sounds easy, doesn't it? Just like skydiving looks easy and brain surgery, when I watch brain surgery, it looks simple. Okay, so right, when something's done really, really well, yes, the idea is it sounds natural. It sounds easy. It sounds like there's nothing to it. That's how I want you to sound. So yeah, again, you know that feeling, even with chord changes that you're finding the correct notes on, you don't play wrong notes too much, but there's no shape to it, or you feel like you're just sort of meandering through the scale a little bit, or even if you have some good jazz vocabulary, it's not connecting. So right, how do we get away from meandering? How do we get things connecting? How do we create shape to our lines? How do we create interest? This is it. This is really it. It's really, really a wonderful thing to do. It's that simple, but of course, that complicated. Just half notes, make them rhythmically strong. Bang, bang, bang. Okay, cool. And now just play half notes, and your ear or the audience is going to tell you that worked, that didn't really work. So you're going to find it's really challenging. For one thing, to find the voice leading lines. Then the next thing is, how do I actually make this a little more melodic, a little like a melody, a little bit like a solo? So let me do this. I'm just going to play a half note solo on the way out and see if I can find some interesting lines, some tension, some release, maybe some interesting shapes, and we'll take it from there. So remember, please send an email to a couple people who you know would get some value from this, who you think might enjoy it. I want to see 20,000 subscribers next week. You're on.